Okay, so continuing. Global event struct and global event struct. Okay, so now that we've just made that note there, we need to rename this, because I made a bug in my code because I just looked at the variable or the function name and was like, oh, object, all right, it's an object, let's put it in our objects container. But really, it's a struct. So let's take, or you could say global event data. But I feel like data is also kind of ambiguous. I mean, I do have a specific meaning of what I mean by data when I use that word, but let's just stick with struct because that's much more specific in terms of what I mean. So we'll just go along and we'll replace anywhere where it says global event object. We're going to replace it with that. And global event struct. And now it's more obvious that, oh, global object, there's a struct in here. That still looks like it might belong, but it makes it look a little bit more suspicious. So now we're going to go up here, and we can move it into here, right? The global event object is new global event struct. Let's see where global event, global dat. Okay, so that should fix the problem. Let's take a look. Empty cache, hard reload. And nothing going on yet. And if we click the canvas somewhere, and the global event actually exists, and we'll go right there. And if we look at the global event, everything's zeroed out except for that CX and CY, right? Let's remove the breakpoint, and we'll go over here and refresh. Let's move this to the right side. Open up the console, and let's start clicking. Let's click at approximately very close to 0, 0. Open this up, and we see 35, 32. Oh, right. That was 0, 0 of where around 0, 0 of where the viewport is, but not the canvas, right? The 0, 0 of the canvas is where the black border starts. So let's click at this black border here. Right, now we should get something a little bit closer to 0. Yeah, we got a 3 and a 2 for CX and CY, for click X and click Y. No mouse X and mouse Y, those are both 0 because we're going to do that for like a mouse move event. Okay, what is next? We've kind of moved around a lot of things and kind of lost track of, what we were doing almost. I do know that the goal here is to get keyboard events in to where we can move around the viewport by moving the arrow keys. The click handlers, because eventually I'm also going to want to be able to set and draw tiles using the mouse, and for whatever reason we just added the click handler first, but we can add the keyboard handler now. How much time is it? Yeah, so let's add the keyboard handler. Also, we want a mouse move handler as well, but we don't need that mouse move handler right away. We didn't really need the click handler either, but it's there now, so let's just keep it because we're gonna eventually use it. Okay, so in this constructor, where we add the native click event handler. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to copy and paste this. And it's a keyboard event. And what was the... so my shortcut script, it's... I made a mistake in it, so it hasn't reloaded. So I think it was like a key press or something like that. We could do this thing called searching on the internet. Let's do that. Keyboard event listener JavaScript. Keyboard event developer Mozilla. That looks pretty credible. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. That's not the keyboard listener. So I'm going to type something like, it's going to be like, so add event listener. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste that. Add event listener, Java, key down? Yeah, key down. Let's do that. Oh, Stack Overflow, nice. Okay. Mouse down, key down. You can't focus a canvas element. Key down is probably only fired on the canvas if it has focus. I'm not sure if a canvas element can have focus at all. Oh, okay, so we might... Okay, well, let's look at what this is called. It's called... Sorry. So there might be a problem if we add the keyboard listener directly to the canvas. And this is called user input adapter singleton. So there's no, within this name, there's no restriction that says, oh, the event listeners all have to be attached to the canvas. And it looks like attaching keyboard event listener to the canvas is going to give me some headaches, and we should just attach it to the entire window. So let's look at that. This answer is a solution, but a much simpler and proper approach would be setting the tab index attribute on the canvas element as suggested by... Okay, got you. So there's like a workaround where I'm gonna guess if you set the tab index, you can get the... Oh, sorry. So it looks like there's a workaround where if you set the tab index on the canvas will start to listen for keyboard events, and if you don't do that, it won't. And it's saying that, oh, this is a hackish solution, but this is actually the solution I'm looking for. Just adding the event listener on the document. Document.add listener. Because what I'm going to do is... the event listener for the keyboard events will be global, and then I'll have some type of global state that tells me, like I don't plan on having anything but a canvas in this sample, but if I have something besides the canvas sample, I'll have some type of global state, kind of like this thing here, some type of global flag that'll tell me what object is currently listening or receiving events for the keyboard. Okay, so add event listener, it's going to be a key down. Go over here. It's going to be a key down event. And there's probably a key up event as well, but we don't really need that. And it's going to be added to the document instead of the canvas. Right, so there's just this document variable coming out of nowhere. And that's also why this is an adapter, right? All this code can be very JavaScript specific, and I don't care. And that's kind of the point of an adapter object, is to isolate your other more generic code from your very platform-specific code. So document.addListener, key down, and then instead of native click event handler, we're going to have native, we could call it native keyboard event handler, or we could just call it native key event handler. I guess that makes a little bit more sense, so let's do that. Then over here, and it takes the same event objects, right? We're just going to populate different things. And we can copy all of that. Global event. And then it's going to be global event dot key equals to-do figure out key. Right? Because I don't know the exact logic for getting this key. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do like a console.log on the native event. And we'll just inspect it and see what kind of information is in there. And we'll probably be able to, it'll probably be really easy to find where the key that is currently pressed is. Global event. Guess that looks about right. Okay, let's give that a run and we'll press some keys and see what we get. Is my timer running? Yep, it is. Okay. Refresh. And I should probably also open up the console. That would be... oh yeah, and move this window over like that. Okay, cool. So right away, what I'm noticing is what happened to my click handler, because I'm not seeing... That's bothersome. Let me refresh. Okay, so somehow did I break my... Okay, I'm gonna comment out... I'm just gonna comment out the keyboard event listener, because I think something I did there got rid of my click handler. Oh, well that's great. Oh, no, nothing got rid of it. It's still there, it's just that I removed the logging for that. Let me go back to, I'm not quite ready to remove those messages. Let me go back in here. So the native click handler, right? I was logging the click event. Console.log click. I don't really care about inspecting it anymore. But I would like to know that it's still receiving that event, right? Because eventually I want to do something with that, and I don't want this code to break on me at some point while I'm working on it, and then have to go fix it after it's been broken for who knows how long, right? If this breaks, I want to know exactly when it breaks, so I'm just always going to keep this log in there for now until I actually add some more detailed logic for using click events. So then the keyboard, we're logging the native event. Okay, so that looks good. Let's go back. Refresh. Okay, so if I click, clickety-click, right? I don't really care about logging the event. I just want to get some feedback when I click to know that that event handler is still attached. Okay, so now I'm going to press the A key. And actually, I'm going to suspend my shortcut script because that can interfere with keyboard listeners. So, okay, now let's press the A key. And we got nothing. So, why is that? Because I thought we attached it. Oh, we know it. We commented that out. So let me comment it back in. So this code right here, I just commented that back in. Let's refresh. Okay, so now if I hit the A key. Okay, so we got our keyboard event. Let's dig in there and see what we got. So there's actually a key value called A. Oh, really? So if I go capital, can I just go Control A and get a capital A? Is that how this works? Let me try that. Oh God. No, it's still a lowercase. It just tells us that it probably tells us like that the caps key is hit. So key A, key code 65. Right? Yeah, because the key A, these two variables probably correspond exactly to like the physical key. So there is no uppercase and lowercase key, it's just one key. And it has a type of key down. Shift key, false. Okay, so if I was holding the shift key to make it capital, it would be lowercase or uppercase. Okay, so knowing that, seeing that, we can now switch around our code here. So the key equals the native event dot key, and then what I would prefer to do is to uppercase like that, and then we'll do a console we'll get rid of the native event. We'll comment that out. And now we're going to expect that in the global event object that there will be that a capital letter for whatever I've pressed on the keyboard. Take a look at that. Let's refresh. So the click is still working, and if I press the A key and open that up, I see that we have the key is A. Alright, so if I press, I don't know, B, and we can see it right here. We don't have to open it up, but it's there. So that is working. That's good enough for me. I guess I should try out the arrow keys really quick and see what happens there, because I'm going to guess arrow up, arrow right, arrow down, arrow left. Okay, so there's some JavaScript-defined constants for how that works. I don't really like those constants though, so I'm gonna add some code to like change that around a bit and use my own variables. I'm gonna map those to something else. So let's go in here really quick, and we've already uppercased it. So actually, I'm gonna say like something like this: so variable key. And move this over here. And then if and we have these like arrow left equals key, then key equals, I'm just going to do ARR and then left for arrow left like that. I also use ARR for array, but within this context it should be understood, you know, what that means. So right arrow left, arrow right, arrow down, arrow up, arrow left, arrow right, arrow up, arrow down, and then just align all of that nicely. And then we'll do left, right, up, and I'm gonna say DOW. Right, we could go DWN. But I like to abbreviate by just using the first three letters of whatever I'm abbreviating, and then also, if I don't do it that way, I like to just make it something pronounceable by putting the vowel in the center. So this fits both criterias of vowel in the center and first three letters of the word. Up with two P's, just so that everything is very uniform. So yes, you've probably noticed that I do things in a very obsessive-compulsive sort of way. Okay, so that looks good. And so now if we run this, we're going to see our custom values for the arrow keys. And then also, like, if there's a different value for the numpad arrow keys, I don't think there is, but if there was, I would just map them to these as well. Let's give this a look, see what we got. So refresh, and we'll just move the mouse. And yep, so now we got our custom codes. Right, nice and uniform, the way I like it. Okay, so my timer just went off, and it's hurting my... Okay, timer just went off, so I am going to stop recording and record another video, because I don't want to go over the time limit for YouTube.